I'm Scales TFT, and this is your guide to TFT Set 7.5 Uncharted Realms. Every champion to be removed in 7.5 is Anivia, Ornn, Talon, Ryze, Tristana, Heimerdinger, Lulu, Nami, Alawi, Nico, Ashe, Taric, Pyke, Thresh, Aatrox, Elise, Kayn, Shen, Tahm Kench, and Sona. Swain will be reworked, Volibear will be retraded, and Jinx and Corki have also been removed. Added are Malphite, Taliyah, Aphelios, Jax, Lux, Kai'Sa, Nasus, Pantheon, Rel, Rakan, Rengar, Zyra, Zac, Zeri, Wukong, Seraphine, Swain is a dragon, Namzi is a dragon, Zippy, Soam, and Terra, and Graves, Nyla, and Jace. So they've also changed Treasure Dragons. Every game will still have the Treasure Dragon event at the end of Stage 4, however, the Treasure Dragon itself may look different. Alongside the regular Treasure Dragon, two new variations can show up. The Order Treasure Dragon and the Chaos Treasure Dragon. The Order Treasure Dragon brings back a mechanic from TFT Reckoning. In every Order Treasure Dragon shop, there will be a Radiant item right in the middle of each one. So players will be able to supercharge a carry or get a fantastic utility item heading into the late game. The rest of each Radiant Treasure Dragon shop will contain things normally found in the regular version, such as item components and gold. And so this is what that would look like. The Radiant item right here in the middle, and then other items on the side. This is what the Chaos shops would look like. The Chaos Treasure Dragon shop, however, is a little wacky. To throw games for a loop, the shop can contain things that can't be found in regular shops. Things like emblems and target dummies are present in this shop. These shops are currently set to a 40% chance for the original and then 30% chance for both Chaos and Radiant versions, meaning that every game has a realistic possibility to have a different dragon from the last. Next, they've also replaced the item of Frozen Heart with Fimbulwinter. Fimbulwinter, grant 15 mana, or 15 bonus starting mana. Once per combat, at 50% health, allies within 3 hexes gain a 30% maximum health shield that lasts up to 3 seconds. Shielded allies gain 20 attack damage and ability power for the rest of combat, and it grants 20 armor and 30 mana. The first trait added in 7.5 is Darkflight. The unit in the Darkflight hex is sacrificed at the start of combat, granting a copy of a random item they have to each Darkflight champion, and bonus health to each. Emblems and non-craftable items are corrupted when they're copied, instead becoming Darkflight Essence. At 2, they get 600 health. At 4, they get 800. At 6, it's 1,000. And at 8, it is 1,800. And the pieces are Aphelios, Swain, Rel, and Rengar. Starting with Rel, she's a Darkflight Cavalier. Her ability is Iron Bond. Rel forms a tether between herself and her lowest percent health ally, dealing magic damage to all enemies between herself and her bound ally. She also grants herself and her bound ally a percentage of her current armor and magic resist for 4 seconds. Those resistances go 50, 70, and 100% by level. Next we have Aphelios, who is the Darkflight Cannoneer. His ability is Binding Eclipse. Aphelios uses his Infernum Cannon to blast bolts in a cone towards his target, each dealing physical damage to the first enemy hit. Enemies can only take damage from one bolt. Then he uses his Gravitum cannon to stun all enemies hit. Damage 259, 270, and 279% by level, with the stun scaling 1, 1.5, and 2. Next we have Rengar, who's a Darkflight Assassin. His ability is Unseen Predator. Rengar leaps to the lowest armor enemy, dealing physical damage and gaining attack speed for 1 second. The damage is 270, 280, and 290% by level. And then finally, the Dragon. Darkflight Dragon, Dragon Tyrant Swain. His ability is Dragon Master's Decree. Swain releases his Dragonling flock, launching 8 Dragonlings toward nearby enemies that each deal magic damage to their target, then return to Swain and heal him for 9% of his missing health. The next trait added is Lagoon. Lagoon units gain bonus ability power and attack speed. A sea stone appears on the board that grants loot as Lagoon units cast abilities over time. At 3, they get 15 ability power and 15% attack speed. At 6, it's 35 and 34. At 9, it's 65 and 64. And then at 12, it's a whopping 200 of each. The pieces are Kai'Sa, Malphite, Nyla, Seraphine, Soam, Taliyah, Zac, and Zeri. Starting with Malphite, his ability is Coral Shield. Malphite shields himself for 5 seconds, and he is a Lagoon Bruiser. Next we have Taliyah, a Lagoon Mage. Her ability, Flowing Volley. Taliyah deals damage by throwing 3 sea stones at her target. Next we have Kai'Sa, Lagoon Dragonmancer. Her ability is Tidal Burst. Kai'Sa fires 4 missiles split between her target and up to 2 other targets within her attack range. They each deal magic damage. This increases by 2 missiles each cast up to 12. When at maximum missiles, each missile deals 10% more damage. Next we have Zac, Lagoon Guardian. His ability is Unstable Current. Zac explodes outward towards enemies within 2 hexes, dealing some of his maximum health as magic damage and healing himself. Next we have Seraphine, a Lagoon Evoker Mystic, with the ability Serenade of the Seas. Seraphine sings a Serenade of the Seas, granting a shield and magic damage on attacks to all allies within 2 hexes for 5 seconds. Next we have Zeri, a Lagoon Cannoneer. Her ability is Water Shock Laser. Zeri fires a water pulse filled with electricity at the closest enemy within 2 hexes, otherwise at the enemy that is closest to the center of the board. The pulse explodes on contact, dealing physical damage and creating a laser behind the target that deals magic damage to all enemies hit. The damage is 110, 114, and 120% by level. Next is Nyla. She is a Lagoon assassin with the ability Slipstream. Nyla cracks her whip blade at her target, dashing through them and dealing physical damage. If this does damage to a shield, she steals some of the damage she deals to it. If her target is shielded or killed, she instantly recasts. The damage is 185, 225, 400% by level, with the shield steal being 80, 100, and 300% by level. Lastly, we have Sam, a Lagoon Mage Dragon. His ability is Tide Blossom. Sam sends out a tide to an unmarked target, marking them with a Tide Blossom and dealing magic damage to enemies along the way. Tide Blossoms transfer to a nearby target if the enemy dies. After 3 casts, his next cast instead summons a vortex under each Tide Blossom, dealing magic damage to enemies in the area. They've also added a small rework to the way Astral works. Now, after each player combat, gain an Astral Orb. The combined star level of your Astral Champions increases the quality of the orb. Astral Champions gain bonus ability power, so rather than having a shop every 5 rounds just after each player combat, you will gain an Astral Orb. Along with it, they have added the piece Lux, who is an astral mage with the ability Cosmic Spark. Lux fires a star towards the farthest enemy, dealing magic damage to the first enemy struck and magic damage to subsequent enemies. They've also reworked the way dragons work. So now, dragons require 2 team slots, provide +3 to their marked trait, and gain additional bonuses based on how many dragons are on your team, meaning you can now run multiple dragons. And not only can you, but it is also beneficial to you to run multiple dragons. So with 1 dragon, it's 500 health. With 2, it's 20 armor and 20 magic resist. With 3, it's 10% bonus damage. With 4, it's +1 team size. And with 5, it is 10% attack speed. Meaning at level 9, activating the trait for 4 dragons will allow you to actually put in the slot for the 5th dragon. Namzi makes her return. She is a prodigy dragon in 7.5 with the ability Fireballs. Namzi bellows, lobbing a massive fireball towards her current target that explodes on impact, dealing magic damage to enemies within 1 hex, and bouncing additional fireballs outward that deal parts of the damage. The bouncing fireballs do 50, 60, and 69% by level. Namzi has the trait Prodigy. Namzi gains a random trait each game. She summons a former trainer to aid her in battle, who also gains this trait. Trainer's ability power is always equal to Namzi's ability power. When Namzi dies, trainers gain 100% attack speed, and so those trainers are going to be all of the ones from base set 7, which would be Heimerdinger, Tristana, or Lulu. Next we have Zippy, a guild dragon with the ability Somersault Assault. Zippy shields himself for 3 seconds and somersaults towards the highest % health enemy, dealing physical damage and knocking them back slightly, with damage 350, 400, and 450% by level. Next, we have a monolith dragon, Terra, with the ability Earthquake. Terra stomps 3 times, causing an earthquake around them, dealing physical damage of their combined armor and magic resist, plus 200% of their attack damage. At the end of the earthquake, Terra scales are hardened for 8 seconds, granting armor and magic resist, with damage of 150, 250, and 4000% by level. Terra has the trait Monolith. Monoliths create 3 hexes on the battlefield. Units standing in the hex at the start of combat gain 15% damage reduction. There are a few other units that were also added this set. First, we have Graves, who's a 4-cost Tempest Cannoneer with the ability Quick Draw. His passive, Graves' attacks spread in a cone of 4 bullets in front of him, each striking the first enemy hit. The active, Graves dashes towards his target, quickly fires 2 attacks, and grants himself armor and magic resist for 4 seconds. The damage is 80, 85, and 300% by level. Next, we have Jax, a Jade Shimmer Scale Bruiser. With the ability Counter-Strike, Jax dodges all incoming attacks for 2 seconds, then strikes all nearby enemies, dealing magic damage and stunning them. The stun is 1, 1.2, and 1.5 seconds by level. Next we have Jace, a Guild Shapeshifter 4-cost. With the ability Mercurial Justice, Jace transforms to his melee form, replacing his ability with Mercury Judgment. He then slams the ground around his target, dealing magic damage and knocking up enemies for 1.5 seconds in a large area. Mercury Judgment leaps into the air, gaining a shield and an additional 100 per nearby enemy for 3 seconds, then smashes the ground, dealing damage in a large area. The shield is 250, 350, and 800 by level. Gnosis, a Shimmer Scale Guardian, with the ability Fury of the Dawn. Gnosis surrounds himself in light for 6 seconds, gaining maximum health and dealing magic damage to adjacent enemies every second. The health is 350, 550, and 750 by level. Next we have Pantheon, a Whisper Warrior, with the ability Aegis Assault. The passive, Pantheon takes less damage. The active, Pantheon braces his shield, doubling the effectiveness of his passive and dealing a percentage of his attack damage in the area in front of him over the duration. Spell also reduces the incoming healing of targets hit by 50% for 3 seconds, with a damage reduction of 20, 25, and 40% by level. Next we have Rakan, a Ragewing Guardian Mystic 3 cost. His ability is Disarming Diversion. Rakan dashes next to the farthest enemy within his attack range, disarming all units he passes through for a few seconds and taunting his target. Rakan then creates a shield on himself for 4 seconds. Next we have Wukong, a Jade Warrior 1 cost. His ability is Crushing Blow. Wukong slams his target with his staff, dealing a percentage of his attack damage as physical damage and stunning them for a few seconds, with damage of 160, 179, and 200% by level, and a stun duration of 1, 1.2, and 1.5 seconds by level. Next, we have Zyra, a Whisper Evoker 2 cost, with the ability Grasping Spines. Zyra summons vines in the row with the most enemies, dealing magic damage and stunning them. The stun is 1, 1.2, and 1.5 seconds by level. Let's go over the augments they've added. Silver Augments, Lagoon Heart. Your team counts as having an additional Lagoon, gain a Kaisa. Darkflight Heart. Your team counts as having 1 additional Darkflight, gain an Aphelios. Soul Siphon. Darkflights benefit from the topmost trait of the sacrificed unit. This does not increase the trait count for that trait. Gold Augments. Birthday Present. Gain a 2-star champion every time you level up. The champion's tier is your level -4, with a minimum of tier 1. Scoped Weapons. Your units that start combat in the back 2 rows gain +2 attack range and 15% attack speed. Protectors of the Cosmos. Combat Start. Your team gains a 30 health shield for every item component equipped on an Astral Champion, including those that are part of a full item. Gain a Lux. Darkflight Crest. Gain a Darkflight Emblem and a Rel. Dragon Imperialist. If you only have 1 dragon, dragons execute enemies they damage who are below 25% health, gain a Nobsy. Dragonmancer Conference. After combat with a player, a random Dragonmancer appears on your bench, gain a Kaisa. Hero in Training. The Dragonmancer nearest to the Dragonmancer hero gains 50% of the Dragonmancer traits bonuses, gain a Set. Lagoon Crest. Gain a Lagoon Emblem and a Zac. High Tide. Until they cast 2 times, the Lagoon champions have 30% reduced attack speed, but gain 12 mana per second, gain a Kaisa. Oasis. When Lagoon champions gain a shield, they remove all negative effects on themselves and heal for 20% of their missing health. Essence Theft. Mages' attacks drain 5 mana from their target and gain half of the drained mana. Gain a Lux. Base Camp. Scalescorns gain 8% damage each time they start combat in the same hex, stacking up to 4 times. Gain a Lilia. And then Terrify. Your units take 15% less damage from enemies, shrunken by Whisper's champions. Gain a Silas. Finally, the Prismatic Augments. Lucky Gloves. These gloves will always give your champions items that they can use well. Gain a Thief's Gloves. Woodland Charm. Your highest health champion is cloned. Clones cannot hold items. Scoped Weapons 2. Your units that start combat in the back 2 rows gain infinite attack range and 25% attack speed. Part-Time Assassins. The Assassin's trait grants us bonuses to your champions that start combat in the back 2 rows. This does not increase your number of assassins. Gain a Cane. Darkflight Crown. Gain a Darkflight Emblem, a Giant Slayer, and a Rengar. Age of Dragons. If you only have dragons, every 5th attack from a dragon fires a Dragon Soul Blast that deals magic damage equal to 50% of their target's max health. Gain a Nomsy, Zippy, and a random tier 4 dragon. Dragon Soul. Your team counts as having 1 additional dragon. Gain a Zippy. Lagoon Crown. Gain a Lagoon Emblem, a Spear of Shojin, and a Zeri. Ragewing Soul. Your team counts as having 1 additional Ragewing. Gain a Gensu's Rageblade and a Rakan. Again, I'm Scales TFT, and this has been your guide to TFT Set 7.5 Dragonlands Uncharted Realms. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content.